Welcome to the Unquendor Guitars workshop and another episode in the series where I work on my new router table. The router table is done. After applying the coats of polyurethane finish to the top of this router table and polish it out to get it nice and smooth, it's time to give her a test and show you the features of this router table. Behind door number 1, there's my second Triton router. Drawers for all the accessories and router bits. Additional storage, of course. The on-off button for the router and the extension cord. At the back of the router table there's a dust extraction port in which I can just plug in my hose for some dust extraction from underneath. I can easily slide in my fence, fix it in place with these two wing nuts, and put in some additional dust extraction with my shop vacuum. One of the major benefits of these Triton routers is the built-in lifting system, and with the supplied accessory, you can find it, you can fit it in, and you can easily raise and lower the router bit. Raise the router bit, and with the built-in lock of the Triton routers I can easily remove the bit. Insert the new bit. Tighten it. Set it to depth. Set up the fence. Turn on dust extraction. I also bought a new router and I want to show you some of the features on these Triton routers, which I really like here in the workshop and why I think these routers are great to be used in any router table. Starting with the dual mode. You can adjust these routers in a couple of different ways. First, you've got the regular plunge mode. To engage the plunge mode, you just have to press this button at the side until it clicks. And now you've got just your regular up and down motion, pushing the router down and fixing it in place with this lever here. The second way you can operate these routers is by another mode. You can disengage the regular plunge mode by pressing the button again until it's flush with the side of the handle. And you can squeeze this orange clutch ring. Now you can turn the entire handle to adjust the cutting depth. And I think this gives you much more control, a better way of setting the correct depth when you're working with this router. The third way of setting the cutting depth is by this micro adjuster knob at the top of your router. With the second mode activated, you can use this fine adjuster to really fine tune your cutting depth, and this is the feature I use the most in all of my work with the router. The fine adjustment is also what makes these routers so suitable to be used in a router table. On the other side of it there's a protruding bit that attaches to your height adjustment tool, and you can turn it to lower or raise your router bit when the router is upside down in a router table. I've shot a clip earlier this week on how to prepare your router to be used in a router table, so let's take a look at it. First thing the manual recommends is removing the spring. It's the spring that allows for the plunge, the self-return on the plunge action. Make sure your router is all the way up. There's a little screw here that needs to be undone. So remove it. With the screw undone, keep your head away from this little knob because it's spring loaded. You can turn it a bit, and as you can see the spring pops out. Pull it out, and I think it's good practice to return the knob, insert the screw so you won't lose it. So now, as you can see, there is no spring return on the router anymore. So that's step one, removing the spring. Next up is removing the plastic base ring from the base of the router. It's fastened with these 4 screws that need to be undone. I'm going to remove the screws. And remove the plastic plate. To mount the router to a router table or to a router table insert, there are several options that come with these Triton routers. Of course, there are the 4 positions we just removed the screws from. I don't know exactly what kind of thread it is. It's a coarser thread, but I've noticed that most router table inlays provide mounting screws, especially when you buy them specific for the Triton routers. There are also 3 other positions. There's a little triangle here of regular metric M6 threaded holes, and you can use those as well to mount your router table. It depends on the kind of router table insert you use. And of course there's the Triton method with these carriage bolts. That's the one I used on my custom made router table. So there are a lot of options, and it depends on the router table insert you use, which kind you need. It's important when you use a regular router table insert that you remove these carriage bolts just by undoing the knobs completely and remove them. So now your router should be set up to be used in a router table. And now I'm going to show you how I fix my router to my router table. Okay, I can just open up my router table, and here's a custom made mounting plate I made in one of my previous videos. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And I can easily mount my router to it using the provided carriage bolts on these routers. I can just pop it in like this. Tighten those, plug in the power into a power socket I created here. Turn on the power knob and I'm done. Another cool feature on these routers is the self-locking spindle. When you adjust the router to full depth, the spindle locks in place, and this lets you switch out your router bits very easily with just one tool to unlock the collet and to lock it in place again. And while the spindle lock is engaged, there's a little fence over the on-off button, so you can't accidentally switch on your router. Of course, when switching router bits, the best practice is to unplug the machine. But of course, this isn't always possible when using it in the router table. Then just turn off the machine, lift it all the way, switch out the bits, lower it down, turn it back on, and you're ready to go. So, great features on this router. The locking spindle feature combined with the height adjustment, and that's why I think that these Triton routers are one of the best routers to be used in a router table. I want to say I'm not sponsored by Triton in any ways, but Triton, if you're watching, feel free to contact me. I think these Triton routers are great value for money and a necessary tool in any guitar workshop, and very suitable to be used in any router table. So that's it for this video series on me working on my router table. I'm sure you will see it being used in my upcoming videos. Yeah, if you have any suggestions, comments or whatsoever, please put it in the comment section down below. And while you're there, hit the like button if you like these videos. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I hope to see you in one of my next videos, and until then, have a nice week.